Does your dog pull on the leash? Is your dog reactive, bark at other dogs, lunge? Does your dog zigzag around you on the walk? Does it constantly stop and mark and want to sniff, or just stop and freeze up and not want to go any further? If your dog does any of these things, whether it seems intense or maybe a bit mild, if you want to teach your dog how to walk nicely beside you in a, say, heel position, which is what you're going to learn about, then this is a tool that I want to introduce you to. Let me explain. So the prong collar was designed this way for a reason, for a purpose. If you've ever walked your dog on something like a flat collar, buckle collar, martingale, choke collar, something of that sort, and your dog pulled, what you experienced, or I should say what the dog experienced, was this sort of gagging, choking effect because it put all the pressure on the throat area. Well, instead of something like that, when pressure is applied, whether your dog is pulling or you engage pressure, more on that later, when there is pressure involved, the pressure will not just be on the throat area. The pressure will be evenly distributed around the entire neck all at once, meaning you won't get the choking, gagging, even vomiting from your dog. So it'll be much more comfortable, much more safer in the long run for your dog. And may I add, much more effective with your training. The reason why we're using a collar versus a harness, which really is very popular, is because this is going to give you more control, more steering in a sense when you're training your dog. The harness specifically is placed in the strongest part of the dog's body, right? And if you really think about it, dogs who are used in sports or used to pull items, such as, say, mushing dogs, they wear harnesses. They're using the harnesses because it encourages pulling. We don't want pulling though, right? It's dangerous, it's uncomfortable for us. We don't want it. So we need to use a tool that is purposed and invented for what we need to walk our dog on a leash in the neighborhood. A simple walk with our dog, right? So we're going to use a collar, and most importantly, an effective collar. So what kind of prong collar do you get? Where do you buy it? What size do you get? All very important questions. Number one, we want to make sure that we purchase a Hermspringer brand, okay? There is only one other brand I would suggest to you, and that would be Kimberlin collars. They actually make collars meant for the really small dogs. So if you have a dog, say, under 10 pounds, you may want to check out them online. Otherwise, make sure you purchase a Hermspringer brand. Where to buy? Well, I would love to say Amazon or Petco or PetSmart or any of these big box stores, but unfortunately, it's hard to find good quality Hermspringers there. And like anything else, right, there are copies made out there, so be very careful about where you're purchasing it. I've found good luck buying through Chewy.com. There are other stores like Learberg.com, things of that sort. If you have any questions regarding if you're having a tough time, feel free to reach out to me. But importantly, make sure it is a legit Hermspringer brand. Now, it may be difficult, with that being said, to make sure you are buying a legit Hermspringer. Even on Amazon, they may show you pictures, and it may look like the real deal. But when you get it in the mail, not so much. So when you do get your Hermspringer, you can make sure that the prongs themselves are very smooth and well-rounded. If they are sharp, if they are flat, not so good, return it or throw it in the trash, because we don't want anybody else to have it anyways. Otherwise, again, if you have questions about it, you can always reach out to me. All right, so what size do you buy? When you go searching for a size for a Hermspringer prong collar, you're gonna see that there's a few sizes, but really you only need to worry about 2, okay? Again, unless you have a little dog, you can go to Kimberlin collars and you can find a selection there. Otherwise, you're going to either be purchasing a 2.25 millimeter, some stores will call it a small, or a 3.0 millimeter, some calling it a medium size. For whatever dog you have, even if you have a Mastiff, you do not need anything bigger than a 3.0, okay? Majority of dog breeds, I'm using the small 2.25. Even on some larger breeds, perhaps, even Great Danes, I will use these. It may depend on the fur, right, or the size. If I have a German Shepherd, I'm probably gonna go with the 3.0 because they have really long fur, okay? That might not make a whole lot of sense to you, but hopefully that gives you some variations, and I can give you more examples of figuring out for your breed or your mix of, breed in your dog, what would be the right fit or size for your dog. But just kind of understand that most dogs, 2.25, all right? Okay, so how do you put it on the dog? Well, pretty simple, really. All these links here, they all come out individually, so you can pull from wherever to put it on your dog. So you got your dog, okay? Now what you're gonna do is you're going to get these links here, okay? And you're going to just kind of slide this, you could slide one of them up. I like to use the one near the chain, okay? And I grab these two little points right here. I pinch them, okay? Just slightly pinch them. Don't pinch them too hard, okay? You might bend them over time, but just a little bit of might, and you're going to pinch, pull out, and you're good, okay? Then you can place it around your dog's neck, and then you're going to pinch those 2 points again, and you're going to place them in those 2 holes, okay? Go right back where they came from. You pinch and put, or just slide in there, okay? Again, you can go from any link, anywhere, okay? Doesn't matter. But, again, I like to go up there. Now, if you find this very difficult to do, maybe you have arthritis, things like that. I've had clients where they have a tough time. A bit rare on the 2.25, but definitely a possibility. With the 3.0, this can be a little bit harder, okay? Because the gauge is bigger, it's just a little more stiff, so you might have to use a little bit more might to do it. So if you find that more difficult, I have an accessory that you could purchase to help, and that is a buckle made by Katie's Buckles, katiesbuckles.com. You can go over there, and then it's just this quick little snap right there. Okay, so that is an option if you find this difficult, no worries. Otherwise, what I tell all of my clients to do is sit on the couch and take your links and do it on and off, on and off, on and off without your dog. Because last thing you want is when you're starting to put this on your dog for the first time, you got this wiggly, crazy, happily dog that's ready to go for a walk. It's going to be a lot more difficult for you, okay? So get used to it, practice, and then go ahead and grab your dog and go for your walk. So in order to size it for your specific dog, all you're going to do is you're going to adjust the size of the collar by the amount of links that you add or take away. So remember, each link can come out individually, right? So that means I could take out one link. If I have a smaller dog, then say what the standard size of the prong collar fits, okay? Maybe you have a bigger dog. Maybe you put it on your dog and it's like, oh, this won't even go on the dog's neck. Okay, then you probably need to purchase a few extra links, add, and then get it to the right size. Just remember the goal is that it fits snug, high up on the neck. Here are a few key points to remember about size and where to place it on your dog. So number one, we need it to fit snug, okay? Not crazy tight, but not overly loose either, okay? So if you're able to put it on your dog's head with you just slide it over your dog's head, we know it's too big. You should not be able to do that. Nor do I want you to do that because I don't want you poking your dog's eye out, okay? Let's be careful, okay? So you should always, always, always unhinge it and then put it around your dog's neck and then hinge it again with the links, okay? So fit snug, not too loose. It shouldn't be like hanging down, dripping like a necklace, nothing like that, okay? All right, and then secondly is we want to make sure that it is fit high on your neck, or not your neck, your dog's neck. Fit high on their neck, okay? So if you have like a buckle collar, let's say, or later on, maybe you do the e-collar training, right? You may have an e-collar on. No matter what, your prong collar, whatever it is that you are walking with your leash, then that should fit the highest on your dog's neck, right behind their ears. All right, so here are some backups that I would like to encourage you to use for just in case moments with the use of your prong collar. So first off, to explain, a lot of people tend to have leashes with this sort of clip, okay, this sort of hardware. And unfortunately, it comes off of the prong collar quite often, to where us trainers that use prong collars, we have to develop some sort of backup system so that in case that happens, our dog doesn't get loose. So that's what really this is about. Now, to avoid that sort of issue where a clip comes off of our swivel on our prong, we could just change our leash out to where it has a better clip, a more secure clip, such as this trigger style, where it can go right on the prong like that. It's not going to slip off by any means. Or you could buy a clip that has somewhat of like a carabiner style. You know, a lot of times those have locks on them. Those are much more secure as well. So there's that. Otherwise, if you tend to use leashes like this and that's just your preference, it's what you got, you don't want to buy anything extra, all right, cool. Here is what I would like you to do. So first off, you get your clip. Okay, so you get your leash, you attach it to your swivel as you normally would. All right, here we have this sort of key ring. You can buy this at any hardware store on Amazon, super cheap, okay? And you just feed this through, it's just a cable, feed that through your leash area right there, and then into your swivel of your prong. And in this right here, you just twist it on until it is secure, just like so. Okay, and you would just leave that on your clip and your prong. It's just always going to be attached. So much easier just to not even worry about it. So that way, in case your leash pops off, right, you're still connected to your dog. No loose dog, all right? Especially important for those of you that are maybe going through reactivity issues, obviously aggression. Like, you really don't want your dog getting loose. So use something like this. Now, the second thing that could possibly happen is these links, right, are hinged improperly when you put it on. Perhaps you put it through one hole instead of through both holes, okay? And then you're on your walk and it just pops off, right? Because it's put on incorrectly. Or maybe your dog just scratches and just catches it just right and it pops off. Then you have a loose dog. So in order to prevent that, this is where we bring in a carabiner, okay? Again, buy this at a hardware store, Amazon, maybe you have one laying around the house. You're going to attach this to the O-ring on your prong collar. All right, there you go. And then you're going to grab your dog's buckle collar. Your dog's probably already wearing one, very likely. So you're going to use that, and then you're going to attach that carabiner also to the ring on your buckle collar. Okay, so just like that. So in case this pops off, you're still connected to your dog because your carabiner is attached to your buckle collar, which is connected to your dog, and your leash is on here. So all is well in the world. Now, if you're thinking, Chloe, this is way too much stuff on my dog, I get it. But really, is it worth it? Is it worth taking the risk? Personally, I don't think so. So I have these in play for you as an option. If your dog has zero issues as far as aggression or reactivity, and you're not worried about them getting loose, maybe they already have a decent recall, you know they're not going to run away from you. Maybe this isn't as important to you, and that's totally your choice. But I want you to not be so much of a risk taker when it comes to our dogs, especially because we're going through training for a reason, most likely. So here's an option for you to just make sure you have a safe experience in making sure that your dog doesn't get loose through this backup system. All right, so now we have our dog. We got our prong collar. She's got her buckle collar already on, ready to go. And what I'm going to do is, see, I already have my leash, my fail-safe ready to go. I don't need to add that on. I'm just going to keep that on permanently. I don't have to constantly, fuss with that. I'm going to unhinge my link. I'm going to place it over my dog's neck. Pinch it in those holes, right? There we go. I make sure I have it placed high on the neck, just behind her ears, right? It's not hanging down loose, right? It's got a nice fit. Doesn't easily rotate around the neck, right? Now the ears might not easily move. If your dog's fur is really smooth, that might happen, right? If your dog has longer hair, it's not going to happen so easily. But you want to make sure that fit is nice. It's not going to move a whole lot, okay? All right, my chain is clear. It's not tangled, so that is good. Next up is I have my backup right there. I'm going to attach that to the, attach it to my O-ring right there. There we go. And then I attach it to the ring on her buckle collar. And I'm good to go. Now, we're ready to go for a walk. Ready? Let's go.